I'm calling to order the council meeting, successor agency, Stanton Housing Authority Special and Joint Regular Meeting of April the 25th at 5:30. At this time, is there anyone from the public who would like to speak before we go into closed session on any items dealing with closed session?
Mr. Mayor, we have none this evening.
Have we received any correspondence?
Mr. Mayor, we have none.
Okay, I'm going to recess then, and we're going to take roll call first, and then we'll be moving to root to roll call session.
We'll go ahead and proceed with roll call.
Yep.
Councilmember Torres.
Here.
Councilmember Taylor.
Here.
Councilmember Warren.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Van. Here. And Mayor Schauber.
And now we'll recess it. Before we go to Madam Attorney, would you tell us what we're doing?
Absolutely. Thank you, Mayor and Council. Today we're conferencing with legal counsel regarding existing litigation pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9, subsections D1, one case. This is Tina Pacific Residents Association for City of Stanton, filed in Orange County Superior Court. Thank you.
Okay, any questions? All right, let's recess.
City Council will recess into closed session at 5:35 p.m. Regular City Council meeting will resume at 6:30 p.m.
I mean, how it works out.
Mayor Schauber called the City Council Successor Agency Stanton Housing Authority Special Joint Regular Meeting. My apologies. Again, Mr. Mayor Schauber called to order the City Council Successor Agency Stanton Housing Authority Special Joint Regular Meeting for April 25th, 2023. Closed session, item number 1, 5:33 p.m. Roll call was accounted for. Council Agency Authority Member Taylor is present. Council Agency Authority Member Torres is present. Council Agency Authority Member Warren is present. Mayor Pro Tem Vice Chairperson Van is present. And Mayor Chairman Schauber is also present. Item number 3, public comment on closed session items. None were here. None were provided via written or verbal form. And City Council proceeded into closed session at 5:35 p.m. We do thank you for your attendance this evening. City Council is currently in closed session and the meeting will resume at 6:30 p.m. in open session. Again, we do appreciate your time during the silent period.
Okay, I'm going to reconvene the regular City Council meeting of April 25th. We just finished with the closed session. We have a report about closed session.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. There's nothing to report.
Thank you. You want to call roll, please?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. I will now proceed with roll call vote. Council Agency Authority Member Torres.
Here.
Council Agency Authority Member Taylor.
Here.
Council Agency Authority Member Warren.
Here.
And Mayor Pro Tem Vice Chairperson Van. Here. And Mayor Chairman Schauber.
Here. I'm going to have a past acting city manager. Sandy, you can do this one first.
Thank you. Please stand and repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the
to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Cindy. Okay, we're now at special presentations and awards. Tonight, we're going to have a presentation by the Parks Recreation Community Service Commission sharing their mission with the City Council and providing information on their current operation. I would guess that that's probably going to be Mr. Juan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That's Chairman Warren here this evening.
And then there's some diapers.
That's such a promotion.
And sir, as you're aware, if you could please put the microphone close to your hair. Thank you.
Okay. Hello, everybody. I think you've met me before on occasion, but if not, hello, Mayor, City Council. I just wanted to say that I'm really proud of the work that this department's been able to accomplish in all the years that I've been on the commission, and can be considered the youngest and most senior member of the commission, depending on whether me or Greg was appointed first. We haven't quite figured that out, but we have so much going on. And one thing that just kept coming to mind recently, in thinking about coming to this meeting, was I've been asked many times, like, why did you not want to go to the planning commission? And really, the Parks Commission is where we're having all the fun. And I'm really so proud of what's been accomplished by the department, the insight, the guidance that my other fellow commissioners have provided, that we have Parks Master Plan that I'm really happy to see how that's going to conclude. That we got good inventory going on with our different parks. We have 10 parks. When I first started coming around here, there's fewer parks. Sand Central Park didn't exist. Dawson Park had just opened. And it's really proud and impressed by the work that's been accomplished by the department. But I also want to say that I appreciate the insight of my fellow commissioners. This last meeting, I kind of got to feel like a teacher sitting on the dais for once, where I noticed two members weren't speaking up, and I knew this was the kind of topic that they wanted to have insight on, and so I got to sit there and nudge them a little bit and encourage them to speak. And that's what I've always been trying to do as chair of the commission, is to encourage that dialogue. And as I was happy to see that they had very constructive and positive insight into the topic we were talking about at the time. But I don't know the exact order of things that we're talking about this night. I think Sam may have something to add to all this, and I know we have Greg here, so I don't know the order we have, but I'll wait.
Thank you, Chair, Mayors, and members of the City Council. I do want to echo that I am proud of what the Commission has been working on and have the guidance they provided since last July for covering just this fiscal year. There are a number of projects we're working in conjunction with Public Works, a number of grant-funded programs that they've been able to provide some guidance on. As Chairperson Warren mentioned, the Parks Master Plan, we're coming towards the end of it at the end of May, and we'll have a wrap-up and presentation to the Commission and to Council. There's the Expansion Park Improvement Project, Orangewood, Rock Sports Complex for the park, and in addition to our regular operations and event programs, our commissioners are very supportive of the events. They attend our programs and events, volunteer, our ambassadors to the community. So I would like to thank the chairperson and all the commissioners for their attendance, their participation, their support throughout the year. Thank you.
I'll just add, I greatly appreciate the direction that Zane has been able to provide to the commission. I've had the opportunity to serve under a couple directors at this point, and while the first director did take us out to dinner every December, that's about the only thing I miss at this point. But otherwise, I just want to say that Zane has always been responsive to anything that I brought up with her. She followed up with me. Just really coordinating. This last meeting I asked for an ARPA update, just to see where we've been, where we're going, and to discretion of presenting that at will. But I just want to add to that and say, thank you. To that? No? No?
No, I'm not speaking. So thank you anyway.
So you only speak if there's news cameras.
And council, I just wanted to remind you that we invited the chair and we will be inviting the chair of the planning commission as well as the public safety committee on a quarterly basis because this was a request from the council that you wanted to hear directly from the commission and hear their input and insight into projects that they were overseeing. And we're really working hard to engage more with all the commissioners, inviting them to our budget workshop, making sure that their decision package is ready for the council as well.
You know, thank you for that, Hannah. I'd like to take it a step further, if my colleagues will agree with me. When you guys come in quarterly, I like you to bring all the troops, so that we get to know them face to face, and then we can hear a little bit from each of them and give them an opportunity to talk to us. You know, it's easy for us to come out to your meetings, but, you know, I think it'd be kind of neat if you guys came in and we got to know you that way. So I would like to, if it's okay with you, invite all of our commissioners to come in with the chair and to say whatever their heart's desire. I think it'd be good for us, okay?
Thank you. I'll add that and responding to the proactiveness of.
We're gonna get Mr. Hines to talk to us about what we'll be doing.
I just want to add regarding what I was saying about how proactive Zen is. She did state in the last commission meeting that she would like to have everybody show up at will, not required, but she had followed up with an email to check with everybody to see if they'd be arriving. And she did correspond with me just in the last day, let me know about the status of who would be attending or not. So, just singing Zen's phrases there.
Any other questions? Okay, John, we'll see you with all the troops next time. Thank you.
For being nice.
Okay, we're gonna move on to our consent calendar. All items on the consent calendar may be acted on simultaneously unless a board member requests something before. Do we have a member of the public that would report?
Mr. Mayor, we have no requested items from the public for the consent calendar.
Okay, nothing written.
No written either, sir.
Okay, great. Can we have items A through D? Is there anything you wish to pull? Is there a motion to approve?
I'll second.
Okay, Madam Clerk?
Mr. Mayor, we have a motion by Councilmember Taylor, a second by Mayor Pro Tem Van. I will now proceed with a roll call vote. Council Agency Authority Member Torres.
Yes.
Council Agency Authority Member Taylor.
Yes.
Council Agency Authority Member Warren.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Vice Chairperson Van.
Yes.
And Mayor Chairman Schauber.
Thank you. We have no public hearings. We have no unfinished business. New business. This is item number 12A. This is City Council consideration for the appointment to fill one vacancy on the Standing Public Safety Committee for the appointment following on November 22nd general municipal election. Before I begin, is there any request from the audience to speak on item 12A?
We have received no requests.
Anybody want to speak on 12A? Okay, hearing none, we'll bring it back. Who's handling this one?
That would be you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, we've got it.
Good evening, honorable mayor and city council members. Again, before you have this evening, city council consideration for appointment to fill one vacancy on the Stanton Public Safety Committee. And that will be for seat number 3, Councilmember Torres. For the city's municipal code, it requires the submission of applications and interviews prior to appointment. The city council by majority vote may waive the requirement to interview persons previously appointed by the city council and who are requesting reappointment to another term. The city clerk's office has received a total of 3 applications, and 3 applicants are present this evening. The appointment process will go as follows. Each applicant will be called to the podium. The applicants were sent via email 3 questions to answer as part of the interview process. A copy of the applicant's responses have been provided to you via email and is also provided to you on the dais this evening. With the exclusion of one, which if you do not see the application questionnaire, because we did not get that in time. So at the leisure of council, we will go ahead and verbally request an answer to those 3 questions. In addition to the email questions, the interview process will then be open to the city council should each of you have any additional questions for our applicants. Once the interview has concluded, the applicant will be asked to have a seat while the next one is called forward to the podium. Once interviews have concluded for all applicants, I will then proceed with the nomination portion of the process. That concludes staff report. Mr. Mayor, Council, I will now begin with the interview portion of the appointment process via alphabetical order of the applicant's last name. Are we ready for the first applicant? Yes. At this time, I'd like to invite Mr. Jeffrey Jones to the podium, please. Good evening, Mr. Jones, and thank you for your attendance. We do have before you his application and questionnaire. If you'd like to introduce yourself and speak a little bit about yourself to the city council.
I'm Jeffrey Jones. I think I've met just about everybody on the council at one time or another. I haven't met Councilmember Torres, so my name is Jeff Jones. I currently serve on the Public Safety Committee. I'm the only incumbent here before you today, so I can provide some insight from that service. I know in the past, the council wasn't sure about the purpose of the Public Safety Committee, but I have some ideas of how we could move forward in a positive direction with expanding the duties of the committee, hopefully. And now, hopefully, the questions may have.
And we'll ask you if you could put that microphone closer to your mouth, sir.
Okay.
There's a little bubble.
Can I also ask
There you
everybody
go.
to speak up too, because I'm
Yeah,
having
that's-
difficulty hearing.
That's
Thank you
perfect,
so
thank
much.
you.
So, Mr. Torres, would you like to start with, do you have any questions?
Perfect. Yeah, hi, Mr. Jones. In your questionnaire, you filled out that the Public Safety Committee is just new and you're still trying to figure out the purpose, right?
Correct.
What do you see the purpose of the Public Safety Committee being?
As the committee exists now, it has a limited purpose. The council hasn't referred or given any direction as to how we can better serve the council and better serve the community. So I think to improve on that, we could probably change the model of the committee. You know, as it is now, the committee has no chairman, the committee doesn't vote on any issues, and the council hasn't had the opportunity to refer items to the committee for review. So if we went to a model similar to the Parks Commission or the Planning Commission, and if the council were to come across issues and they were public safety related and they weren't quite sure what to do with it, then they could send it to the committee for some type of review. I hope that answers your question.
Awesome. What are the issues that you see with public safety?
Numerous. You know, we have a lot of issues in Stanton. We have a big homeless issue, especially where I live down at the, down near Garden Grove area, the beach, or off the beach there. We still have issues with a lot of thefts, a lot of vandalism. We still have issues with prostitution and gaming, and now, you know, massage parlors. So all these issues the council has spent a lot of money on, and they've tried to address it proactively, but they continue to persist. So it's an ongoing challenge, and maybe one of those or all those or something they can send to the committee, and then, you know, the committee can make some suggestions, positive suggestions about how to deal with those.
Thank you.
Any further questions, Mr. Torres?
No, I'm good.
Hearing none, we'll move on to Councilmember Taylor.
Hi, Jeff, how are you?
Good, how are you?
You still live down in the Cross Point area?
I do. I'm still in Cross Point Village.
You're still seeing a lot of homeless in the area?
Absolutely. Part of the problem is,
Not across the street, but actually on the Stanton side.
well, it bleeds over onto the Stanton side. So the city has taken some proactive steps. Now they have a deputy that's dedicated to that, and they put a camera down there, to kind of monitor the Stanton side of that intersection down there. But since jaywalking is no longer illegal, you know, you find people crossing the street, probably what's the most dangerous intersection in the city, right there at Beach and Garden Grove, where it's just joining the freeway, and that's where the mass majority of them conjugate. But inevitably, they're going to boil over into the Stanton area and into that Radio 39, which is kind of like our anchor business now. So it's something that we need to address more proactively, and hopefully the sheriff's department can help us out with that, because the sheriff's department is countywide. The sheriff himself is the leading law enforcement officer of the county. And when you have multiple jurisdictions competing there, you have Stanton, you have Garden Grove, you have Westminster, and then you have the state, all that meet right there. We need somebody to take the lead. And I think that would be a great thing for the sheriff to do.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Mayor, Councilmember Warren.
My question is about community involvement. Have you been coming to our events so you understand what the public safety challenges is of our events? We just had our Easter event. Have you been coming to any of those events? Are you involved in other areas of the city, charities or anything like that?
Right. So I serve on the board of directors for Cross Point Village, which is the largest gated community in the city. So we have 500 properties in there and about 3,000 residents. So serving on the board there gives me an opportunity to hear their concerns. And I can tell you they're really concerned about public safety there, especially with the homeless, all the crime that's been in that area. So in other parts of the city, not as much. And as the committee existed prior to the change and some new members, we had it divided where the city was well represented. The committee members, represented almost the entire city in balance. And with these new appointees, I'm not sure how that's going to balance out. If you're going to have, 2 representatives that are on the north end of the city or the south end of the city. But I can tell you in my community, I'm very dialed into what the needs are there. We're even starting to touch base and talk to the new development that just went in with Rodeo 39. So, we're getting more and more involved in that part of the community, and I think I would be a representative that could bring those concerns to the committee and to the council itself.
I was kind of looking for an overall, the entire city, not just your.
Did I go to the Easter egg hunt? No, sorry about that.
Have you been to any of our events?
I'm sorry?
Have you been to any of our city events?
Not recently.
Thank you, Ms. Warren. Mayor Pro Tem Bam?
First of all, thank you so much for serving on the Public Safety Committee for the past 4 years. I know that your experience as former deputy probably brings a lot of insight and value to the committee. I'd like to ask you, because you had mentioned that one thing that you can see the committee doing is looking at issues that perhaps council refers to as coming up with solutions. So you've listed a number of issues that you already see. What are your suggested solutions?
I think each one is a challenge in itself. Homelessness is a challenge in itself. I know the sheriff's department has been proactive about it and becoming even more proactive about it. The director of public safety works very hard about it, and he shares all that information with us. So I think the committee as a whole can review that. And I think I could provide some insight, having prior experience working for the sheriff's department. But just to come up with a solution right off the top of my head, those issues are just too complex. If it were so easy, the council would have already solved it. We wouldn't be spending millions of dollars trying to resolve it. I wish I had all the right answers right now, but I don't.
Yeah. So I guess what I'm asking is, given that the sheriff and Director Wren, as well as council with all of our resources and all the different backgrounds that we have, we are struggling still with a lot of these huge issues that you've mentioned. And if we were to refer it to the committee, what sort of solutions do you think you'll be able to come up with that the existing folks here have not yet thought of?
Well, I think it would be as diverse as the committee members you put on it. So it's impossible to tell, who would decide what. I tend to be stronger on the enforcement end. And since the laws have changed, that's become more difficult. With prostitution, there's no more law in regards to bordering for prostitution. So it makes it difficult for the deputies to have reasonable suspicion to make contact. And then if they do, and it ultimately leads to probable cause for an arrest, it may not stick because of the changes in law, just like the changes in jaywalking. With homeless, you can make contact with jaywalking and then maybe determine if they had a warrant or not. Now you don't have that ability to do that anymore. So everybody's searching for, the balance there. But you have to do it within the confines of the law. So I think the committee can brainstorm. You know, what I found is the committee feels like it's held back. And that it wants to have purpose, it wants to provide, service to the council and to the city itself. But as it exists now, it's limited. So I think a good first step would be, you know, changing the model of the committee to maybe a commission. I don't know that the title matters much, but having a chairman of the commission and having votes so that you can at least take action and make maybe recommendations to the city. As it is now, we're hands are tied and we can't even do that. So first step first, let us, you know, walk before we run. And I think you'll be surprised at how well they do.
But as of right now, given your sheriff's background as well as 4 years on the committee, you don't have any specific policy recommendations for us, is that correct?
Well, we really haven't brainstormed that much. The way the committee exists now is it's limited. That's the drawback to it. The positive part to it is you have a seat at the table. So when the director comes in, he provides you all this information, and it's great information. And I can disseminate it in my community, and hopefully the other representatives are doing the same. But, you know, the best thing going for sitting on the committee now and that seat at the table is you could share your concerns about the community or that part of the city you live in. So if you're having a problem with homelessness, if you're having a problem with break-ins, as we did in Cross Point for a while, you could share that with the sheriff or captain or his sergeant, whoever he designates to attend the meeting. Or at the very least, you can share it with the director and he can try to put some of this creative mojo to work.
An additional question is, one thing I've always believed in with committees and commissions is to make sure we have a diversity of perspectives so that we have a committee or commission that represents the people of our city. And I understand that you personally feel like you represent at least 3,000 residents in Cross Point Village, and that's a very strong voice right now in the community because of your advocacy. However, the risk we run into is perhaps your neighborhood may not be as high of a priority as, for example, my neighborhood in Big Stanton or Pro Village, which may be experiencing higher level public safety issues because they don't have an advocate on their committee. Those voices aren't being heard. And in comparison, maybe the issues at Cross Point Village may not seem as pressing or as high level. Do you have any comments about maybe the bigger picture and making sure we prioritize issues that are maybe more pressing or higher priority with all of Stanton and not just your neighborhood?
Well, one of the things the council can do is it was pretty well balanced in this last committee. That you had representatives throughout the city, and a lot of the concerns were the same, but they would happen at different times. Like, you know, at this end of the city, you had a bigger prostitution issue, and the people on the committee were well informed about the issues, and they were able to bring insight to the director, and even to the sheriff's department, and vice versa. The director and the representative from the sheriff's department was able to, you know, provide advice. Hey, do this. If this happens, call us, or don't get involved. You know, different things. So, you know, the motivation's there. So the council can help by hopefully trying to make it balanced out again. If you balance out the city with the members on it, then you're going to get a true reflection of what the city is like. If you decide members based on other criteria, and you end up with all the people at one end of the city, you're not going to get a reflection of, you know, the concerns and the challenges that you need to know about.
Thank you so much. I have no further questions.
Thank you, Jeffrey, for applying. It's always nice to see that people are willing to step up to serve the community like yourself. I just have a few questions. What do you really see as your role as a commissioner on the Public Safety Commission? What is your role? How do you see that role? Not necessarily you, but all of the membership.
So I mentioned in my application that I have a general philosophy that we all have a responsibility to contribute to our communities. And I'm glad to see there's other people applying for this position. Because no matter what, you guys are going to win. Whether you pick me or you pick one of the other members, they're motivated to serve. So I think I bring an insight with, my background in public safety, my degree in criminal justice, I'm a retired deputy sheriff. I've worked in school safety, public safety. I'm a veteran. I don't know if there's any other veterans that are even on the committee. So I was motivated by my interest in serving to make the city better for us all. We all have that same goal. We all want to make the city the best place we can live. And the city has been getting better today. That's a compliment to the council because you've been making good decisions. So I'm hoping that the council will listen to what I'm saying today, and whether you pick me or not, that you review the committee itself and its purpose and provide a little more support and direction. And I think in that sense, it'll be a huge win for the council and for the city. So me personally, I provided that insight to the committee. I think it helped. I provide, that insight to that part of my neighborhood that I live in, which I think helps. So I hope that answered your question, Mayor. And thank you for the kind words. That was very nice.
Also, being serving on the commission for 4 years, what observations as a board commissioner member over that period of time did you notice improvements in our public safety standard?
Well, right, I can't remember at what point it was that article came out in the Register that, our status as far as how safe the city was in the state had bumped up. And it was a significant bump, and that's a credit to the director himself and to the sheriff's department for doing a good job, and to the council for listening and putting money and policy that was positive, that moved us in a positive direction. So we have some momentum. Let's keep that momentum going. Let's improve on that and start tapping that committee to help you make good decisions. You guys get a whole variety of things, and you don't have to take it all on. There's going to be some times when you're not sure what to do, and maybe the captain will say, "Hey, that's not quite ours," or the director might say, "I'm not quite sure." If it's not something that's an exigent, circumstance, then kick it down to the committee, let them roll it around and see what comes back. Why not? You created the committee, use it.
This might be a tough one, but I'll throw it at you.
Okay.
Over the past 4 years, can you give me some of the accomplishments that the commission has achieved?
Well, probably the best thing for the committee is that the committee members have been able to interact with the director, with the sheriff's department, and with the fire department, and let them know about what's happening in these different neighborhoods. As I mentioned, as the committee existed, it was very well balanced out. The people lived in different parts of the city. So the director got a full, 360 view of what was going on. And he already had a pretty good understanding, I'll tell you that right now. But that's invaluable. So if you have a seat at the table, it makes his job better and more effective if he knows what's going on. And sometimes, there's a little surprise in there, and he's like, "Oh, I didn't know that. Let's give it some attention and see if we can resolve that." Same thing with the sheriff's department. Maybe they're not aware of something that's going on, but a committee member that lives in that area and he's hearing about it. So the fact that it's provided this information conduit, between the neighborhoods and the city officials that make the difference is the most successful thing about the committee, by far.
Being the fact that you do have a law enforcement background, would you pick one of the areas that you aforementioned where we do have public safety issues, one of the many topics? And how would we go about either improving or eliminating that problem?
Then I can present them to you right now, and tomorrow they would be solved. Every day the director goes out there and tries to resolve those problems. Every day the captain and his deputies go out there and try to resolve that problem. I'm of the school of thought of more enforcement. I know there's been a period where law enforcement has been kind of put on the back burner with defunding, or they've been law changes which have made it a bigger challenge to try. For example, the law regarding theft, the elimination of the 3 strikes law, which probably went a little too far anyways. But those things have made it much more difficult for the sheriff's department and for the public safety department to try and address these ongoing issues that the council is throwing millions of dollars at trying to resolve. So, I think the best thing the council can do, people and the city can do, who I think are very supportive, it's been my example that the city is very pro-law enforcement, is that to support the sheriff's department, and support the public safety director, and when they come to you for resources, give it to them. And that's how it will make a difference.
Thank you, and thank you for spending time with us. Are there any other questions, folks? Okay, Mr. Jones, thank you very much for your application.
Thank you very much.
At this time, I'd like to invite Mr. Mike Pierce to the podium, please. Pierce, thank you so much for your attendance this evening. We did receive your questionnaire. At this time, if you'd like to just introduce yourself for the city council.
Good evening, council members, Mr. Mayor. Good to see you all again. My name is Mike Pierce. I live right over here in the Big Oak Grove Village, and I've seen you all before. So I'm just applying for Public Safety Committee.
Thank you so much. I will open it with questions from Councilmember Torres.
Awesome. Could you please tell me a little bit about your strengths?
Sure. I'm involved in the community. Spend a lot of time in my neighborhood. I communicate what's happening in my neighborhood. I've been in communication with Councilmember Taylor recently about some of the issues in the neighborhood. And I feel like I take stand very seriously. We're involved in the community, something that we take a lot of pride in. So one of the things I want to do is be involved. I would like to apply and be involved with the city safety committee, just to be more involved with my community. It's new to me. It's not something I've done before, so that's a hard act to follow, as Mr. Jones said. But it would be something I'd like to be more involved with my neighborhood, and then get to know more about what's happening in the city itself.
I want to thank you for joining us, Citizens Academy, this past cycle. So you listed like 4 issues within the city. Do you mind explaining to me what you see around homelessness?
As far as homelessness goes, and I would again like to mention, I credit Mr. Wren, I credit our sheriff's department, our Hawks, our homeless outreach coordinators for doing a phenomenal job in the city. But it does still continue to be an issue. We actually have a homeless individual who frequents our neighborhood on a regular basis. He's a relative of somebody in the neighborhood. He wanders into people's yard, he steals, and he's kind of a threatening individual. I just see it continuing to happen around the area, but I think it's something that is a hard problem to resolve. I think it needs to be approached with outreach. Enforcement's a hard thing for me to see happen, because when you outreach to these people, it's something that has to be done over and over and over again. I think Mr. Wren's team, the Hawks, approach some of these people 60, 70, 80 times, and they still get nowhere. That these individuals have to make the decision for themselves that they want change in their lives. I appreciate what the city's doing with converting the Tahiti and the Riviera into a transitional housing. I've seen the homeless population in our area decrease and push to the outskirts of town, down toward Anaheim, toward Garden Grove and that. And as Mr. Jones mentioned, they kind of push back into our areas, but it's more in the outskirts. I used to have 40 to 50 homeless tents behind my house along the railroad tracks as we backed right up to the railroad tracks. That doesn't exist anymore. Now we see 1 or 2 tents, and once in a while, and within a matter of days, they're gone. So that has improved dramatically. But that outreach still needs to continue. And I wish I had a quick answer for it. I wish there was some resolution that would come quickly, but I don't have an answer for that. It's the continued outreach, I think, is just going to, have to happen.
Thank you.
congratulations on becoming a lion. I saw that the other night, so good job on that.
Thank you, I'm glad you were there for that.
Where you live, being close to CRR and the railroad tracks and all of that, have you noticed any decrease in the crime that was happening from the railroad tracks to CRR?
I don't know that we noticed a ton of crime. Again, it's this one individual who continues to travel through the neighborhood. We see a lot of transient traffic through our neighborhood. So because they can pass through the park right here, cruise through the neighborhood, I haven't experienced any crime myself, but I don't leave things out. I do know that some of the people that travel through the neighborhood will pick things up if you leave them out in your front yard. So the individual that I was mentioning, he stole somebody's refrigerator dolly the other day. He went into somebody else's backyard, right in between their house and into their backyard. He's helped himself into their garage. So it's kind of and he's a threatening individual. He's my size, but he's young and he's on drugs. So he's told me that my dog is his dog. So I stay very far away from him because I don't think I could confront him and, you know, come out winning in that situation just due to the fact that he's affected by drugs and he's mentally not all there.
Thank you. Thank you for applying.
Thank you for being here tonight. And congratulations on the Citizens Academy and the Lions Club, and we're glad to have more of the community participate.
Sure.
We really want as much participation.
That's
because
something
we
that's
have
very enjoyable.
Yeah, we have the clearest vision when we do. Have you had any thoughts as to a direction that you would like to see the Public Safety Committee explore?
Being something that is new to me, I haven't been that involved. Just some ideas. I know that in the last meeting when I had applied to the Planning Commission and they were doing interviews for the other gentlemen or the other folks for the Public Safety Committee, that was a big issue at some of the retail places like Smart Final, also at Home Depot. And I know that I go and I see these cameras at the various locations. It's like the police camera. Is that a sheriff's camera that they have those, or is that it's a private camera? I see those. I just saw one at CVS right there at the corner of Lamson and Beach Boulevard. And when people come in front of it, it talks out loud, says no loitering. It's kind of a warning. I don't know if that's something that would be a benefit, but something, you know, that kind of gives people kind of a notification that they're being observed by camera and that it's, you know, talking out loud, something to that effect to kind of drive theft away. I also mentioned, you know, security guard. I know that's an additional cost for these facilities or, you know, these businesses, something to that effect. But just something where everybody's coming together with common ideas, you know, for the betterment of the city and, you know, to drive safety. And I'm willing to learn. It's something that it's going to be a learning experience for me because it's new to me, but taking direction from Mr. Wren and, you know, the other members of the team, you know, that would be something I'm interested in and looking forward to.
Thank you.
Mayor Zimmerman?
First of all, thank you so much, Mr. Peters, for applying. I think it's fantastic that you've been through Citizens Academy and that you're also involved in the city in other capacities. I noticed that it says that you volunteer at the Boys and Girls Club weekly, teaching guitar lessons.
Yes.
Can you elaborate on how long you've been serving there?
I started in February.
And what has your experience been like interacting with the children?
Oh, it's been great.
Do you have any unique perspectives about what they might think or any concerns
Some
you
of
might have?
them really like it. Some of them are, well, they're teenagers. So, you know, it takes a little bit of time. It's challenging for them, but I think it also pushes them to try, you know, something new. And so we're looking at Guitar Lessons 2.0. So we'll see how that goes. That one starts on mid-June, and we'll go from there. So this program ends next Monday. So it's just like a 3-month stint, and then the program ends, then they come back in the summer, and then we'll go from there. I was just talking to Steve Rowe, you know, yesterday about it when I did lessons last night.
Great. I think it's wonderful that you're so involved in the community in different capacities, and I
I enjoy it more than they do, I think, so we'll just be honest about that. But I do have one student who's, I thought he was gonna be the student who didn't grew the least, and he's actually grown the most, so.
How long have you lived in your neighborhood?
It'll be 7 years in June.
Can you comment on any of the changes you've noticed in the past 7 years in your neighborhood and maybe where you'd like to see it go in the next 5 to 10 years?
As far as changes go, I've seen things go up and down a little bit. As I've communicated to Councilmember Taylor, we have a speeding issue in our neighborhood on Santa Rosalia. This is a concern for us because we see people flying up and down the street on a consistent basis. We also see where you put in that very nice stop, three-way stop there at Orangewood and Santa Rosalia on a very regular basis. My wife and I will be driving in and out of the neighborhood. Other people come to that and it's not even recognized as a stop sign. They just drive right through. It's as if, stop sign doesn't exist. I see that at night too when I'm out walking my dog. So it just doesn't exist for them. So,
So it sounds like that, the investment we made to do the, I guess we call it a road diet, you don't think it's actually working or people are
I
ignoring
think
it?
some people recognize it. I think it's slowed traffic to some degree. And it's definitely stopped people from driving through the wall, which has been a huge improvement because I don't remember, I think since we've lived there for almost 7 years, we've seen at least 5 cars go through that wall. So that, and then the black up against the backdrop where they can't see the signal light on the other side, which would make them continue to think they could just keep on going. That's been a huge improvement. That has been an improvement there. The homelessness again behind us has been an improvement. Working with Hannah and our issues with CRNR has improved dramatically since I've been here. And then overall, just in general, Stanton has changed incredibly since we moved here. All the improvements as far as the city goes, the beautification, the enhancements with Radio 39, et cetera, have been great.
And then thinking towards the future, what else would you like to see happen?
I would just like to see a little more beautification in our own neighborhood. Not too long ago after all the rains came and all the areas which I would say are just the parkways which don't really belong to homeowners, somebody came through and mowed all that. But that's continued to grow back up and we have a lot of people who don't manage to maintain that and to see that happen on more of a consistent basis. I'm out and about my neighborhood a lot. I know a ton of my neighbors. And one of my neighbors actually mentioned that there's people who are elderly in the neighborhood who just can't physically do it themselves. They're not going to. They're not going to pick up the trash. And the dump that our neighborhood gets used as a dump site on a regular basis. Furniture, trash bags. If it's in my reach within pushing my trash can over, 50, 60 feet, I'll do it myself. I don't want it. But I'm not lifting furniture and I'm not doing that.
I wonder if your neighbors are aware of our public service request app, where they could call in dumping and things like that they see in their own neighborhoods.
Yeah, I don't think there's people who are living actually in our neighborhood. Some of them are, but some of them I think drive in and just use that area.
Yeah. I guess what I'm saying is the dumping being reported by neighbors when they see it.
Oh, that I don't know.
I have no further questions. Thank you.
Mike, thank you first of all for your persistent willing to volunteer. I think that is a great attitude that you I've known you for many years now, and I will say that I think you're a true advocate, not so much of any particular part of the city, but the whole city. The other thing that's nice is that you stand up for what you believe in, and I think that's important. We spent many an hour day and night taking care of the Union Pacific Railroad tracks,
Yes.
and we finally won that battle. But a lot of it was because you were willing to continually report and to assist the police department and all of us in accomplishing that. So thank you for that. How do you see your role if you were appointed to the Public Safety Commission? How do you see your role being on that commission?
See my role as being involved with my neighborhood and echoing what my neighbors feel is an issue or issues, sharing that with the Public Safety Committee, and then also getting into what else is happening in the city so I can be more involved in that as well. And just being more involved as a whole.
If you had the ability to make one change in public safety for the city, why? How would you make that change?
That's a hard one. I feel like that's, I just really don't know the answer.
What would you like to see changed? I'll make it simple.
I mean, I would love to see the homelessness issue change, where it eliminates the theft problem. I mean, when we're going into Walmart, when I was standing at the AMPM the other day, and a gentleman who was just wigged out of his mind came up to me and started hitting me up for money, and you're afraid to say anything negative or say anything at all because you don't know if they're going to hit your car or hit you, you know. So I think that's a complex problem because it involves drugs, theft, and homelessness. So I think that checks multiple boxes, but something to that degree.
Again, on behalf of the council, to really appreciate taking your evening to come down so that we can find out a little bit more about you. Thank you, Mr. Thurston.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. At this time, I'd like to invite Ms. Sandra Rodrigo to the podium, please.
Good evening, everyone. Hello.
Perfect, thank you so much. Whatever you're comfortable with, or dismounting, you can hold it, or move the whole, piece down. Thank you. Yeah, you can do that as well.
Hi, everybody. My name is Sandra Verdugo. I'm new to all this, so this is really enlightening to me. I've been living here in Stanton for 7 years. Beautiful city. Thank you for all your service.
Thank you so much for telling us briefly about yourself to the City Council. Why are you interested in becoming a Public Safety Committee member? And what personal qualifications and or skills do you have that will be of value if you should be selected to serve on the committee?
Well, following the two gentlemen, I think that they're very qualified. I believe that in order to make a change, you should be involved. And this is the first step. I'm not young, and I've been around. I was in the medical field. I worked in the OR. I self-employed in my own business. General contractors, brokers, I'm a grandma. I just love people. I think engaging the community, being involved, I think, I'm a senior, and I think, getting seniors involved and understanding their needs. I'm very home with my neighbors and the elderly and are going through their issues. They're not tech savvy. I think just knowing your neighbors and helping. So I think safety part of it is just being involved in the community and understanding safety issues that are going to help prevent issues.
Our second question this evening, out of the three, is what public safety issues do you feel are most important to the residents and business owners of the city?
Living your Star and Beach Boulevard, or where that area, there's prostitutes, I would say almost every night. Driving by, I go to Los Angeles a lot. They're there. Evening, night, early morning. I think, is that a bad thing? They're breaking the law. Definitely is a bad thing. It's a safety issue. And then the homeless, HDL mentioned, I think that's an issue. But why are they looking for a place to stay? They have a home. So I think beach is beautiful, I mean, we're always, Highway 39, as you said, beach, and I think, driving that area, it's beautiful, but how can we make this stretch nice and long? Businesses, unifying the city.
The final question from the questionnaire is, what recommendations do you have related to public safety that you would improve the quality of life for residents and members of the business community?
I would say communication, getting to know your neighbors, and you know the local businesses. I want to bring my business dollars here first. Mom and pop shops, they come and go, but they do need sustainability. We need to give them more business.
That concludes questions from the questionnaire. I will begin with Mr. Torres.
Great, so it seems like you have an experience in not only being a business owner, but it also seems like you have experience in the medical field as well. And as you know, public safety is also tied to public health. We understand that this role specifically is to be a liaison, but also it's a leadership position. So what leadership skills would you bring to the public safety?
I would be a voice to those out there, and it's really communication, speaking to people and finding out what the issues are, taking the initiative and making a point to knock on doors and talk to people and address those that are visible, but also those that aren't. I think that's key, and taking the initiative, like I said, knocking on doors and talking to people. I love people. It's what I do for a living. It's what I've done. I think even if I wasn't, on the nominated, I think this really is an eye-opening evening, and the gentlemen that are also very qualified, I would want to support them and support our city.
Would there be any conflict of interest if you would join the public safety community?
As far as
Like if you sit on any other committees or anything like that?
Nope.
Well, thank you for coming out tonight.
Thank you.
I don't know whether you know it or not, but you hit on one of my favorite topics is diversity in our city. Did you know we're the most diverse city in Orange County?
I see it. And I
We all
just have
get
to.
along. It's so
but,
fantastic.
Yeah,
Yes.
I love that.
Whereabouts in the city do you live?
Polaris Road, so if you're familiar, Star and Beach.
I know Star Beach.
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm all about community involvement tonight. How have you been involved with the Stanton community? Because there's a lot of areas of Stanton and you might be really involved with one area and have no clue what the other areas are doing. Do you go to our events? Are you involved with any of the groups in Stanton? What's your community involvement?
Unfortunately, I have not, and, I'll be honest, I would love to. I'm not aware of a lot of the events, but it's just a matter of looking in the city calendar. I get that, but, I've gone to some of the parks. As far as being involved, I went to the homeless. I wanted to volunteer there a while back. It's time I had ailing mom at the time. There's just, there's always something, right? Always, we can make excuses, but I feel like, excuses are over, and we need to be proactive. I want to be an example to my family, to my adult children, my grandchildren. And getting involved is definitely key, but I will be more proactive, and I do plan to go to more events. Yes, beautiful city. I love it.
And you get to know more of us.
Yeah, I will.
Personally, what would some of your goals be to be a part of public safety? And that doesn't have to be anything specific, but just personally, what are you looking for out of being a member of the committee?
Finding out what the needs are. There's different cities, different area locations that have different needs. I live, there's, parking issue, so now there's permits that are required. Some don't care, some care, but, it really is a safety issue, I believe. I think just, seeing what the needs are in the community, in each neighborhood. I like the neighborhood, I think it's a neighborhood watch, but I know, my daughter lives in Eagle Rock, California, in Los Angeles, and they have the neighborhood, so they all join, and they, we saw a guy in a ski mask, front door, and everything. So it really makes, I think it engages you and you get more involved, and it helps those who maybe don't have, a camera or, I think just being involved and letting everybody know that you're there for them.
Great, thank you. I don't know any more questions. Okay, Councilmember Warren, Mayor Pro Tem Dan?
Thank you so much for applying. We really appreciate that we have applications for our committee from folks that we don't traditionally see show up to our meetings, and so it's great to have different voices from the community. One thing that you had mentioned that I think really stood out was you had talked about addressing the needs of those that are visible and those that aren't. And I think talking about those that aren't visible is something that many people forget. Can you elaborate on who exactly you're referring to and what sort of needs you see?
Well, I know mental illness is a big thing. It's always been there, but now it's seems to come up with all the gun laws and shootings and stuff. And I think, and then the seniors. I'm a senior specialist agent, real estate agent, and I feel like they don't really, we don't see them out there because sometimes they can't go out there or they're in, enclosed. And the only way we're gonna know, obviously, we get involved in the community and get to know our neighbors and knock on the doors and those who need help, who need food, who need, maybe they need some gardener, maybe their pets need help. I think those are that's that weighs heavily on my heart. And I think that's something we all need to do. We're all gonna be there. I mean, not necessarily mental illness, but be in an area where we're gonna be.
One thing I noticed in your application, it says that you were part of a grievance committee in 2018, 2019. Can you talk about what that is and your experiences there?
Grievance committee, at the real estate board in Glendora, people having issues with, with other agents, other colleagues, the grievance committee, somebody overstepped their bounds, somebody unethical. Just hearing them, issues and making a decision on what the penalty.
I know that when I was campaigning for my election, I often heard grievances from fellow residents about certain city entities, and it was often difficult to address them or say it in a way that was both compassionate and yet providing useful information on how to move forward. And I'm glad to hear that you have some experience with that. Hopefully, if residents come to you with grievances, you're able to handle that in an appropriate manner.
Well, it's not even being able to tell people what you're complaining about, but absorb and understand what your issues are, what we need to work on, and then make changes, make those changes.
In the 7 years that you've lived in Stanton, what sort of changes would you like to see?
I think I've seen changes already, like the parking issues and the graffiti. One day the graffiti's on the wall, and the next day they're painting over it. I think that's a really big thing. I think beautification, making your the neighbor or your home or nice. It obviously it helps the community, increases the value of the property, just maintaining people's property and what are the issues that need help.
Thank you so much.
you again for your application. We appreciate people in our community that care about our community, so tonight is special for us too. As a mother and grandma, what do you see as one of the things that you would like to improve public safety that would affect citizens throughout our community?
Being a grandma, but my youngest is a month and a half, and my eldest is 23 grandchildren. I see the need in getting children, being active, being proactive as well, Boys and Girls Clubs, tutoring, and then the seniors. So it's like I go from the, children to the seniors, and I think those are the two, those things that are close to me that I feel like I would like to be. I don't know, parks, really for the children. Getting them out of the streets, getting them out of, being more involved, school. I guess I should just go to the community activities and see what they're doing.
Thank you. If you're chosen to be on the committee, I assume that probably your first few meetings, you'll try to soak in as much information as you can, learn about who your fellow commissioners are. But there's going to be that point where you have an opportunity to champion something that really is important to you in public safety. If your opportunity gives itself, what would you be championing? How would you go about it?
Oh. That's a good question. I think, communication is really putting out there what the city has to offer. It's diverse, so there's different languages, and I think, communicating with everybody at different levels and getting everybody involved. This is the city, this is our community, this is where we all live and come, back home every day and leave. And I think it's having more diverse communication.
Appreciate you taking your time this evening to be with us and for wishing to join in your services. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
You can just put it on the bottom, that's no problem. It's tricky, that one.
Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, that concludes the interview portion of the application process. At this time, I'd like to give this over to seat number 3, held by Councilmember Torres for the recommendation and motion for approval.
Awesome. So I want to thank everybody for applying. I think it's really important when we have a diversity of applicants. I think that competition is always good for those seats because, it requires to be more insightful and more active in the community. And with that being said, I would like to make a motion for Ms. Verdugo.
A motion by Councilmember Torres to appoint Ms. Sandra Verdugo, and we have a second by Councilmember Taylor. I'll go ahead and now with the voice vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Ms. Verdugo, congratulations for your appointment to the seat on the State Public Safety Committee. Mr. Schauber, any final awards for our applicants this evening?
Yes, I do. I've been sitting here thinking, which is dangerous. But, we have 7 members of our Parks and Recs Commission. We have 5 on the Planning Commission. And we have 5 on Public Safety. We have 40,000 residents. And we have our Citizens Academy where we're getting more and more people that are interested in serving our community. So I'm going to put on my little note, bring it back up, discussing in great depth with our Public Safety Director, Mr. Wren, and staff, to see the viability of maybe adding 2 more seats to public safety so that we would be more diverse within our community by spreading it out and giving more opportunity. There were a couple of extra great candidates tonight, and they're willing to serve. Well, if we can afford them that opportunity, if it decides to be what's best for the city, I think we should do so. On behalf of the city council, I want to thank each and every one of you, all 3 of you, for being here tonight. Now, if you weren't selected for something, please don't give up. We have more boards, we have more applications coming up, we have people that are not able to serve or continue, so we have occasional openings, of which you will be first to be notified because you're on our list now. So don't give up on us. Also, I would advise you, if possible, to get a lot of volunteer time in with the many different events that we have in our community. We always need good people like you who are willing to put in the time to help us, okay? That being said, again, thank you very much. We'll be in touch with you as soon as there's any openings, and I will be personally reaching out to you if we decide as a council to expand our Public Safety Commission. Thank you very much. Okay, we're moving on to item 13. This is all communications. At this time, the public may address the City Council, the successor agency, the Stanton Housing Authority regarding items within the subject matter jurisdiction of the City Council, the successor agency, the Stanton Housing Authority, provided that no action may be taken on these non-agenda items. Again, I have 3 minutes to speak on the item that comes before you. So I'm going to go ahead and open for communications. We have not received anything written, is that correct?
Correct, sir, no written communication.
Okay, good. I will begin first of all with Mr. Friedman. Please come up, Steve.
Good evening.
If you can speak directly into the microphone.
Thank you for allowing me to speak. We have 3 dispensaries, maybe 4 opening on Monroe. My biggest focus is traffic regarding that. A lot of us have semi-tractor trailers, big trucks. Sometimes we have to unload in the street, and it's going to be more congestion. Oh, I can turn on.
You ran out of battery, but please continue.
Anyway, I hope you can all hear me. My biggest concern presently is there is a left turn exit on Monroe going to Beach Boulevard. There's a stop there. A lot of the patrons of the dispensary aren't exactly sober when they show up to purchase what they're going to buy. Some of them might even do things in the parking lot, even if there's guards walking around making sure that doesn't happen. This is all going to affect everybody's driving. Historically, the traffic on that street is very speedy. And I'm concerned that making that left turn off of Monroe onto Beach, somebody's going to get into a terrible traffic accident. And I would like to see a no left turn sign up there if that's possible. And I know that I was told earlier that's a Caltrans issue, but it's also a concern for safety. Even if there's a minor accident there, it'll tie up that intersection for hours and hours and hours. And it's a focus to protect the businesses on Monroe and the street behind me, which you have to enter Monroe to get to. So that's what I'm here to talk to about today. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Freeman, and if you'll get the card from our traffic engineer or city engineer, you'll be able to communicate.
Thank you, appreciate the time.
Okay, speaking now, Mr. Hines, please.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. I'm Greg Himes, longtime resident here, It seems that the subject of tonight is public safety. Last night, there were gunshots in my neighborhood. And so, having noted that the chief was going to be here to speak tonight, I just thought that I would ask some blunt questions about violent crime and gang activity around the city. So hopefully when your time comes up, you can discuss this. We know Mr. Wren is on it too, but the sheriff's of us, we generally look to handle these things. So we look forward to hearing a candid and frank report tonight about what's happening in the city. We know about prostitution, we know about homelessness, we know about drugs, but haven't heard anything about violent crime or gang activity. So I'll give this back. Thank you all for.
Thank you, Mr. Holmes. Is there anyone else who would like to address the city council at this time? Okay. We'll go ahead and close the public hearing and bring it back to us. We have no written communication. Mayor, chair, council agency authority initiated business. Committee reports, council agency announcements. Okay, I'm gonna make that now. I had the pleasure of going over the Gopher Field, the minefield, over at Normal Sports Facility, where I used to play softball, right, to run really fast. And there are so many gophers over there, I think that we could probably have the largest crop and get the Guinness Book of Records. But Alice invited me, along with President Dave, to their garden open house. It was really done well. We had a chance to, how to jar things, put in jars, what kind of fertilizer to use. We had people from UCI that told us how to grow products. And I got a tour of everybody's patch. There are 7 or 8 patches that are still open out there. And it's still early on, so if you want to see Alice after the meeting, she'll get you how to get applications so you can grow, okay? Can't grow marijuana, but you can grow plants, okay? Also, I got seeds, which was really cool because I know the seeds I got from the college probably will grow, and the ones I buy at the dinosaur won't. So that was good too. But the most important thing I learned, Alice, was that I always had trouble with squash and vines taking over my garden and killing everything. So I found out that if you take a pole and you put it in the ground, the vine will grow around it. If you put your wire cage around it, the leaves and fruit will hang over and it won't kill everything in your garden. So I learned something, so it was well worth the Gopher trip. But anyway, I did have a great time, and thank you for that, Alice.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm glad you got to learn about the amazing miracle of vertical gardening.
Sure.
So, Councilmember Torres and I had the great pleasure of going to Sacramento and attending the Cal Cities Theater Summit. And during that trip, it was a great opportunity to meet many of our state legislators as well as several state agencies, including HCD and other colleagues across the state. And I had the great pleasure, especially of going through a session on the Surface Lands Act and meeting with the deputy director of HCD and had that conversation. So thank you so much, Council, for approving that trip and allowing myself and Councilmember Torres for attending. And I'm sure he has things to add as well. And additionally, Councilmember Warren and I just went to the Garden Grove State of the City address this afternoon. And we're very excited to see that their navigation center is going to be opening within this year, is what Mayor Jones had announced. And our neighbor is doing really well, and their city manager is doing a fantastic job. So I'm really pleased to see the great partnership that's going on next one.
They even pulled a rabbit out of a hat.
Yes, they had a magician.
Just the theme was the magic of Garden Grove. So they have a magician.
So I want to thank council as well for approving our trip. I got to sit into many important meetings that I never thought I'd even know about. One of them, which I was proud of, was that they did a little class on Project Home Key, and all of our 3 projects were up there as one of the examples. So I was like, yes, so that was very good. And apart from meeting all of our fellow council members from other places, that was nice as well.
Okay. Sure. Tim?
No Carolines, no mosquitoes, no nothing? We don't have a, district manager from the districts in a couple of weeks. Maybe our next meeting.
The next meeting.
Sandy?
It's supposed to get bad here for mosquitoes. All the rain, they don't need a whole lot of water in order to lay their eggs and hatch them, so it's supposed to be a real bad year. And there's Dinky fever out there, and Cephalitis, and they're transmitting a lot of it. We lost 2 people last year, and hopefully we won't lose any people this year. But it's a serious issue. It doesn't like that many people.
Sandy, anything exciting happening in your ballpark?
Thank you, Mayor. I can give an update. We do have, we just had a family night out this past Friday. It was completely full again. We're so proud of this event. 50 families, and a couple of our commissioners stopped by, volunteer and observed as well. It was a loteria night, so different culture, bingo games and prizes, families getting to enjoy dinner. This Friday, we have a kids night out at Stanton Central Park at 6 p.m. And then next Saturday, we have the art exhibit. Again, we're excited to host Central Park 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. You can still get your art entries in.
Okay, at this time, we'll move on to any items for future meeting.
I have one. I have 2 actually. Sorry. So the first one would be requiring council to have 1 extra class for sensitivity training. It would be great if the city could research into which one would be the most beneficial for us. And then the second one, I've seen an issue throughout the city just by driving around. I started to look up on the internet how many of these types of business we have. But we have around 4 to 5 payday lenders in our city. And it's a very, a lot of payday lenders for, a 3 square mile city. Apart from that, there are studies saying that these businesses also contribute to crime, and the reason is because if people get indebted in one of these loans, this creates a greater wealth greater wealth inequality than before, and wealth inequality contributes to more crime than just poverty. So I would really appreciate if we could have a vote on next, or whenever it comes back again. I would really like to implement 3 things to the structure of the payday loan ordinance. One of them would be to require distance between payday lenders, because honestly, there's like some corners in our streets where in the same intersection, there's one right here in the corner, and then there's another one right here in the corner as well. So, it's too how do you call it, consistent with how many there are. The second thing would be to impose like a 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Operating limit. Upon researching the payday loans, I noticed that they already adhere closely to these hours, so I don't think there would be no foul here. Also, I think it would be great if we can also limit payday lenders by a count of 2 to 3, depending on what we decide on. And then also, I would really appreciate if we could do a 1,000 feet.
Anyone that brought up the study session or on the agenda to talk about it?
I don't.
Okay, so we'll bring that back.
And if you don't mind just filling out that form right next to you and submitting it to me, we'll be up for that. Thank you, Mr.
Okay, as I stated before, I'd also like to agendize a discussion after talking to staff, Mr. Rand, and maybe our sheriff's department on the feasibility of expanding our public safety commission to 7, to see if we can get more of a regional folks on the debate and get more people on community outreach meetings. So let's go ahead and just kind of like let our staff roll it around, and then we'll bring it back for discussion. All right. Future study session.
I just have a question. Like Councilmember Warren and Van went to the state of the city at Garden Grove. Why don't we just, when I was first started on planning commission, we always had a yearly state of the city. Why don't we have that anymore? And when did it stop?
2017.
2017.
I have the last one.
Was that the train that went over?
Yeah. I remember that. That was a trick.
It's interesting you did that because I just had that conversation recently with our city manager. And one of the things that we were looking at is sponsorship. And I think we have enough people in our community, Edison, CR&R, people like that we can be able to fund it. The other thing too is I always thought if we ever got in this position to where we had an elected mayor, I think it would be kind of cool that when we have the state of the city, that we rotate who's giving the presentation to the district that you live in. As an example, 1 year, you'll be doing your district, but you'll be doing the citywide. You'll be doing about your district, and then the guy can cover everything. I think, I've been to so many of those. I think it's kind of neat when you have more people inputting into the presentation rather than just one person. And they're actually hearing from their representative. And they're also making it shorter because it'll be more painful. So just as well.
Just to clarify, that item will be up for consideration during the budget workshop, and you'll have a chance to see all of the annual events the city hosts with the associated costs, and that will be part of your discussion.
I got you with handcuffs on. Okay. Hannah Scrooge. Thanks. All right, anything else, guys? All right, moving on to item of our esteemed attorney.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. I have no items.
You ready for the jet lag?
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay. Former Signal Hill city manager. Brad, say your words.
On behalf of staff, we just wanted to wish you an early happy birthday.
All right. Before I turned 75, the years just flew by. My 75 to 76 was painful. It's slowing down, so I'm not sure what that means. So let's see what happens. Anyway, thank you guys. I appreciate that. Okay. Now, one of my favorite departments in law enforcement will now hear from the Orange County Sheriff's Department tonight. Although, let me make a quick comment. Chief, your guys have been so busy recently. I want to compliment you, not only our police department, but also our fire department. I think you guys all work double overtime. But the way you have responded recently and taken care of all of our emergency calls and put out fires and work with our sheriff's department in situations are stellar. So please let 46 and all the guys know how much we appreciate you guys. Okay, sir? Okay, I still love you, Chief, so go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and City Council. Just to kind of echo that, every time I see the fire authority, every time I see the deputy sheriffs and the sergeants, they're all very tired. We've been very busy. I think the last couple of months extremely busy. Call volumes have gone up. But we're still having fun doing our job, and I want to make sure that I said that, kind of tonight. We're still having fun doing it. So this is for March, the statistical data. Deputies responded to 1,215 calls for service. That's up from last month. When they're not being assigned those calls for service, they observed 390 violations of law and acted on them appropriately with citations, some warnings, and some arrests. Deputies made 27 arrests. There were 8 felony bookings, 7 misdemeanor bookings, 7 warrant arrests, 5 DUI bookings, and they also issued 50 the misdemeanor citations. Our Stanton Motor, which just won, he issued 212 traffic citations, which for one deputy sheriff, that's really, really good. So I'm very, very proud of him. Our gang unit, they've arrested 9 documented gang members for the month of March, which is a total of 16 for 2023. That's up from previous years. I won't go into specifics on, but I can tell the public this, that I'm well aware of the shootings. I'm well aware of the gang activity. I'm well aware of the criminal nexus to it. I have a lot of resources at my disposal, and we are bringing all those resources here to Stanton. One of the big things that I pushed for when I first got here is to make the station a nicer place to work. That allows, right now, we have a different briefing room. We have a different front lobby. We have a different, the kitchen, our report writing room. That team camaraderie at the Stanton substation that's been missing for quite some time is now back. And just today, the gang unit, the NARC unit, and some of our special enforcement teams were there doing briefings, talking to the deputies that were in the field. That communication is key, and I can say this to the public. The public safety side of this, we are here for you, and please call us. That's one thing that we're seeing. It's on the rise right now, and I wanted to tell the city council that it's something that I haven't seen in a while, is our phones are now ringing. The business owners are calling. The Stanton Library, they just called, and we have a meeting in 2 weeks. So the more that people call, it's not a burden. We want you to call. I encourage you to call, because if you don't call, then we don't know. Certain areas of this city are, the crime is higher, and we are paying attention to those to those areas. With regards to gangs, yes, there are gangs here, but we have the resources, and it doesn't cost the city anything. That's part of the sheriff's contract. I've been in communication with all of the captains, from those teams, and there's going to be some things this summer, in the fall, that, like I said, I'll make that available to the city council, as soon as those are planned. But like I said, I definitely have seen an increase, and we're well aware of it, okay? For the enforcement, we had 10 robberies, we had 17 violent assaults, we had 15 burglaries, 41 thefts, and 10 stolen vehicles. Based on these numbers, we have reassigned our set team to different hours. We've also, it's been a big help. Our 1 HLO is working into the night. That's actually helped tremendously. And so with these, we're starting to see our set team and our debt program, the citations, the arrests are starting to go up. So it is working with the different hours. Both our investigators, and I'll go into that, at the end of my report, we lost both of them, but we just got 2 brand new ones. Both are highly experienced. They were my first pick, and I got both of them, which I'm very excited about. But our previous 2 investigators, they currently had 47 cases that were open, and they closed 38 for the month of March, which are really high. It's one of the leading ones for North operations, as well as down south. And again, the thing about Stanton, our call volume is so high. And so that's where it's just 2 investigators. So I'm very proud of their accomplishment on that. Our special enforcement, these are the 2 guys that I had mentioned that seem extremely tired. They arrested 19, 5 felonies, 4 misdemeanors. They issued 14 citations, 11 for public immunity. They contacted 30 homeless people, all declined services. They contacted 5 parolees, 30 probationers. They arrested 1 pimp. They recovered 2 stolen vehicles, 2 firearms. They seized 13 grams of methamphetamine, 37 grams of fentanyl, 30 fentanyl pills, 17 Xanax pills. So, as you can tell, very, very busy for the month of March. Just a quick update on our 2 homeless liaison officers. It's outstanding having 2. The fact that they get to cover more bases, not just for the enforcement side of it, but also for those resources. And then the other side of the week is now seeing, they're seeing both of them. And I think the communication skill that both of these guys have, they're very excited, they're very motivated, and they're going in the month of May to that phase 3 of the crisis intervention training. So that's coming up here. And with regards to that, we have 6 new people starting. And they don't know this yet, but they'll be going to phases 1, 2, and 3 as well, once they get off of training, of course. Other response times, the priority 1 calls was 4 minutes, 8 seconds. Priority 2 was 16 minutes, 55 seconds, and the priority 3 was 28, 42. Just about done. So as I said before, 6 new deputies have started training here in Stanton. Again, they're very motivated. Their training's expected, the first 2 will get off of training in June, and it'll go until September. Once we do that, we'll be fully staffed. So right now, like I said, several staff working overtime because of those vacancies. The Stanton station is going to be complete with the upgrades by us in the middle of May, and we're looking forward to kind of presenting the station, to the command staff. To reach out to the city manager and see if anyone would like to see it. We put a lot of hard work into it: pictures, paint, new furniture, and after we're done here tonight, I would like to see if I can get 8 by 10 pictures of the city council so we can put that up in the front lobby. I'll be asking for that at the end of tonight. We have a new office specialist, Jackie Hahn. She's been in Stanton for over 30 years. She retired, which is fantastic for her. We have a new one starting. She started today. Her name is Betty Jones Tran. She brings a wealth of experience and something pretty fun. She can assist front lobby. She's fluent in Vietnamese, in Mandarin, and also French. And that was something I thought was pretty cool. Like I said, she's eager to start. She can't wait. And like I said, it was her first day today, and she's already bringing me stuff that I was like, I've got other stuff going on, but thank you. So again, I think she's gonna work out fantastic. I do want to report that Sergeant Victor Contreras left me. He got asked to go into internal affairs, which is a very big deal. He's dealing with all the confidential, kind of cases and stuff like that. So I'm, again, very proud of him. I couldn't have done it. It would have been hard for me to do my job, if I didn't have Sergeant Contreras. So again, as I was upset that he was leaving, I was very proud of him, and I think he's going to be great. The new admin sergeant is Sergeant Carlos Jerome. I've known him for 20 years. Back in 2005, 6, 7, and 8, Sergeant Contreras, Sergeant Jerome and I all worked at Theo Lacey together. So I know everything about him. He was a private investigator. He's currently on the bomb squad. So that'll help with this coming 4th of July with regards to setting up that PowerPoint and all those things with that. And he's fluent in Spanish, so that will help our community as well. We also have 2 new patrol sergeants starting. They've already started. They're both fluent in Spanish. They were both fire investigators. They bring a wealth of knowledge. I got my first fix as well. So it seems like I'm getting my first fix because it's Stanton, which is fantastic. Again, I think they're going to do great. We also have, as I said earlier, 2 new investigators. 2 of them, both investigators, they've been on the job a while. They've got a lot of experience. The one comes from North, the other one comes from South County, so a different perspective. And that's kind of what I wanted. So again, I'm really excited to see them start. And I'm sorry, I think my last point, I'm sorry I missed the last meeting, but it was my parents' 50th wedding anniversary, and they took us all to Florida to celebrate that. So very thankful for them for that. This concludes the presentation. I can answer any questions.
Thank you, Greg.
just as usual, congratulations on the work on the streets and our homeless people. Beach Boulevard continues to look good. I did drive down the other day and saw a whole 2 people, which isn't too bad. And I like shopping in the Walmart market over there better now. I mean, you can go in the restroom and nobody's doing anything they shouldn't be doing, and gee, it really is a lot better. I just want to make sure you guys are also knowing that your great work on Beach Boulevard, all those people are not necessarily leaving our city. I don't live too far from Mercantile and Catella, and wow, I mean, we've got quite a few people with encampments there. They're living in front of the hardware store, the clothes. They're just kind of taking over that area. I see somebody put a fence over the park there by the railroad tracks. Is that public safety? Somebody, but I mean, it's great, because every night I would see them, a whole bunch of them sleeping in the park.
We formalize that once a year.
Was that all it is? I'm sorry, I was hoping it was something to keep, they've been sleeping there a lot, I mean, a lot of them. And probably when our liaison goes home at 8 o'clock, they go in after that. But that place is just good.
We might have to be doing to make sure we get through the road.
Fertilizer
Currently
every
just
week.
regular maintenance, so we're doing good on that.
But again, thank you for all that you're doing.
Yes, sir.
It's heavily used, so we want to make sure it stays great.
Okay, I like that.
Okay, so let's start with Sheriff's Department. I drove through town on Monday and I did not see one problem. So thank you, Mr. Lynn, and thank you. That was phenomenal. I had to really look hard. And trust me, I don't miss anything. So congratulations on that. Couple of things, Chief. I think the council, if they're okay with this, we'd like you to bring in the new deputies when you get an opportunity. We'd like to know who they are. We want to put a name with a face, and we want to give them Stanton pins, and we want to welcome them, okay? They're actually going to serve our community, so we need to know who they are. So if you don't have a problem with that, we don't care how you schedule it, but I think after that, I would really like to meet you guys, okay?
So one of the things I was gonna talk to the city manager about, which I'm excited to kind of do something different, was going to be, once they get off of training, I was gonna have a new, it's their nameplate, it's gonna be a little different. It's gonna have the Stanton seal, got a nameplate on it, a Stanton hat, and they were gonna come to, whether it's the first meeting or the second meeting, so you guys can meet up. That was one of the things I like to kind of incorporate, something so that be very similar, Mr. Mayor, so you guys can see it.
Great, and then also for Mr. Contreras, we would like for him to be brought back so that we can honor him with a flag for his service to our community. So you can arrange that with Tricia.
Yes, sir.
We just want to give him a little memento for his service here. At one time, as I told you, we did sell all the bars to the old Stanton jail, and we put little plates on them. So whatever you want to come up with, would be great. I think those are stored somewhere, but I don't remember. Okay. I was never there, so don't worry about that. Okay, now, Chief, Fire. Steve, I would really like for you to bring in our shifts when it's convenient, so we can learn who those individuals are. We have one of the best EMT teams in Orange County, probably. I think we should know who they are and learn a little bit about them. And also, each shift has 6, and so we're looking at 18 different firefighters. We did get some new ones recently, so we would like to know. We know most of the old guys. I don't know if they know any of them, but we want to get to know them better. I think that's good for everybody. Okay? And then finally, come rain, come snow, come sleet, and if the creek don't rise, we're going to have our first responders luncheon in May. I will assure you of that. I will make sure that it takes place. And so Jim, Chief, I will get that information out to you, and we'll make it accommodating to all of you. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes, go ahead.
Maybe you give the plaques out at that luncheon.
Yeah, that'd be good. We can get back to watching. Anybody else that left us? I think we lost 2 other guys that have been here quite a while too. If you could provide Patricia with who you think we should do that, I think that'd be great.
I guess we had 2 of our deputies, they both promoted to sergeant. and they have been here 6+ years, both of them.
That's what it does. So whoever you feel is deserving, will fully support your decision and then work with Patricia.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I guess that's about it. All right, I want to thank all of the people that came tonight, that had a chance to participate in our meeting. Feel free to come up and speak to us at any time. Welcome all our new members to our committees, and thank those of you that are here that have served.